Golf Central, brought to you by Callaway Golf.
Greetings and welcome to Golf Central. Steve Burkowski with you. We begin to set the stage for the week ahead in the game, and thrilled as always to be joined by Paige Mackenzie. And Paige, the PGA Tour heading to Pebble Beach, a special week. When we say Pebble Beach, what is top of mind for you when you hear of that iconic place?
The first is obviously the professional golf history, the players that have played there, the history that this golf course has, but also the fact that it is such a destination for so many of the average golfers and viewers of this sport. So I've got a little deep dive coming up that's going to maybe help anybody that's also traveling there to play and practice, as well as maybe help predict who might be successful at Pebble Beach this week.
A little bit of a tease from Paige Mackenzie, something to keep an eye on over the course of the next hour. And the Pebble Beach Pro-Am begins Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern on Golf Channel. The first two rounds will be split between Pebble Beach and Spyglass Hill. Monterey Peninsula Country Club no longer part of the event. Big time purse, $20 million up for grabs, and the winner will earn 700 FedEx Cup points for the first signature event of the year. And before we even get to a signature event, the PGA Tour, an outstanding start to 2026. Scottie Scheffler, a couple of starts this year, a commanding win in the California desert at the American Express, and in contention at TPC Scottsdale last week despite opening with 2 over 73. Top-ranked player in the world, continuing to do big-time things. So is Chris Gotterup, a player with multiple wins this year. He won in Hawaii, and this the other day in the playoff at the WM Phoenix Open, outlasting Hideki Matsuyama. Win number 4 for Gotterup on the PGA Tour in just 71 starts, emerging as one of the young stars on the PGA Tour. And with this being the first signature event of the season, we will get the chance to see Rory McIlroy for the first time in 2026 on the PGA Tour. Rory typically spends his Januaries in the Middle East playing on the DP World Tour. He now gets to defend his title, looking to go back-to-back at Pebble Beach. And Paige, as we look at possible winners this week at Pebble, what are some of the traits and characteristics you have noticed from previous champions?
Well, it's very interesting because we've had a variety of different champions around this AT&T Pebble Beach golf tournament, and it has to do with the Pebble Beach doesn't always reward the great drivers, although we've seen great drivers win. There's been difficulty in finding a trend, but I found it. I kept digging until I could find what stood out as it relates to predictive winners. So all 5 of the last 5 winners were top 20 in strokes gained putting. This is a huge part of what the broadcast will be talking about with these Poana greens. And when it's on the seaside Poana, it typically gets a little bumpy in the afternoon. So the best putters rising to the top of the leaderboard. Only 2 of them were top 10 in greens and regulation, which is a little surprising. But 4 of the last 5 were top 10 in scrambling. I think both of those statistics together start to paint the picture of what is characteristic of Pebble Beach, which is the small greens. So they are difficult to hit, so it rewards the good scrambling around the greens. And something to keep in mind, and I mentioned it, we've seen some good drivers of the golf ball successful here, including Wyndham Clark and Rory McIlroy the last 2 years. The fairway width is quite generous. Even though this golf course is not very long, it does take the driver out of the hands of a lot of the players, but there is plenty of width around this golf course.
Never a doubt. We knew you would find a trend, something that the numbers said, all right, we're going to follow this path and see if it continues in 2026. So many of the top players at Pebble this week, a big week for so many. But who are a couple of the names you think are in the mix for a breakout victory on the PGA Tour?
Well, I try to stick with the trends, right? And in this case, I'm going to say the trends of the players that are playing well. And good play often will predict good play. And for Michael Thorbjornsen, it was a great week last week at Waste Management. In fact, it was 2 top 20s in a row for him. And when I look at the makeup of this golf course, Michael is very good at the ball striking. So I believe he finished 4th in greens and regulation last week, and also major strides in his strokes gained around the greens. That was not a strength of his last season, but it was last week, and perhaps he can continue to carry that over into this week. As I mentioned, there's going to be quite a few people missing greens here. Another player that I'm keeping an eye on is Pearson Coody, and this is a name that a lot of people were talking about as we entered the week last week. That is because he is now top 24 events in a row, and very much was in contention last week for part of the week as well. And it was a similar story for him, where I'm talking about good ball striking. He led the field in greens and regulation. He's known as his strength. Of course, last year he led the tour in strokes gained off of the tee. But again, we're seeing improvement in the putting and short game as well that will be important this week at Pebble Beach.
Yeah, a couple of those 20-somethings that continue to knock on the door. We'll see if this is the week for Thor Bjornsson and Coody. Paige, appreciate it. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the show. And we take a look at the odds to win this week. Surprise, surprise, or maybe not. Scottie Scheffler, the heavy favorite, not even 3-1. He continues to post odds similar to Tiger Woods during his peak. You see Rory at 13-1. Currently second right now, and another big gap with the rest of the field. Siwoo Kim at 25-1. We know weather can always be a factor at Pebble Beach. It might be cold and wet this week on the Monterey Peninsula, but there's never a bad time for a trip to Pebble Beach, that is, and it's never a bad time to say hello to Todd Lewis.
Yeah, hi there, Stephen. Weather is always a story, as you mentioned here, along with the golf course at Pebble Beach. We'll talk about the weather a little later, but we're going to talk about some season debuts on the PGA Tour. Rory McIlroy, of course, is making his PGA Tour season debut as a defending champion. And Tommy Fleetwood is coming to the Monterey Peninsula to start his PGA Tour season as well. Of course, he is coming off what you could argue is his most successful year as a professional in 2025, when he finally crossed the threshold, winning at East Lake to take the Tour Championship. Now, as for 2026, he's already played a couple of events on the DP World Tour in Dubai, where he calls home. He finished 41st and 25th there, but now he is in the United States, getting ready, as I mentioned, to kick off the PGA Tour season for him. And considering what he did last year, he's excited about 2026, but he's also managing expectations.
It's exciting for me to, as it stands right now and where I finished the year, sort of never been in that sort of position in the game before. Like I reached world number 3, world number 4 now, winning at East Lake. So I did things that I hadn't done before and reached a level that I probably haven't reached before. So I think it's exciting to have to work to maintain that as well as trying to improve. I still feel like I have more things to improve in the game, and I just want to have that kind of self-focus, just continue to try and improve. And I think winning is ultimately what we're here to do, and it was great to finally do that on this tour last year. But no, I think there's a level of golf and a level of consistency and that you want to play to, and if you can do that, I do feel like wins will come. I think the best players in the world play at a very consistently high level, and that's right where I want to be. So I think look at myself as a player. Where can I improve? What do I need to do? What do I need to maintain? Work on all those things, and then see what results come after that. And of course, there's goals and ambitions and dreams, whether they be trophies or moments or whatever you're looking for. And those, hopefully, a few of those we can tick off. But just work every day. Everybody out keeps working so hard, and you have to make sure that you keep up.